My name is Doyle. I'm a mining engineer who has recently founded and set up Resolve Mining Solutions. We're a business that supplies consultants and embedded contracting mining professionals to the mining industry. So I met Katie-Jeyn initially a long time ago, probably 15 years plus, when I was a mining engineering graduate at Olympic Dam. She also worked at Olympic Dam at the time. And then our paths crossed again probably approximately 8 years or so ago. She was working as the Executive General Manager of HR for St Barbara's, a company which I applied for a position with. So she was actually on the interviewing panel. And then it was probably mid-2016, early 2017 that I reached out to Katie-Jeyn for the coaching. We worked pretty closely together with one-on-one coaching for about a 9-month period, and then we've kept in contact ever since. Before I started coaching with Katie-Jeyn, probably a typical mining engineer career, and on the trajectory to become a COO. I was lucky enough to work and live in 4 different states, 2 different countries. I had gone from an underground manager's role, mine manager's role, up to a general manager's role, which I was in when I first reached out to Katie-Jeyn. I've been following her coaching career on LinkedIn, and based on her experience in the mining industry and her own career trajectory, that was the reason that I did reach out. My career in life has changed substantially since the coaching commenced. Initially, the coaching work was around probably the changing the mindset, and then giving me some of the skills and self-confidence and self-worth required to take that next step. So right across the board, feeling much happier, I'm much more optimistic, got a lot more self-confidence, taking risks in business that I never would have taken previously. And that's had a rollover effect to the rest of our life, in terms of financial position now, relationships at home. I've been able to design the business to spend more time at home than I did previously, working fly in, fly out, or regularly relocating in small mining towns. Is a thing of the past now. So it's impacted all aspects of our life. Probably the biggest change from the coaching with Katie-Jeyn, I think, was the change in mindset. I probably had been sucked into this drama cycle. I was probably in career sabotage, as Katie-Jeyn later termed it. When I first reached out, that was probably a blind spot for me. I was blaming others for the position that I was in. I felt like my power was being taken away, basically. So that change in mindset to a more positive action-orientated mindset, taking responsibility, and realising that the decisions I make is what delivers the outcomes. It's how you respond to what happens to you, I suppose that's what proves you're either successful or otherwise. So the results from the coaching with Katie-Jeyn are pretty significant. I was in a career that the trajectory had me heading towards, in hindsight, probably a big event that wasn't going to be pleasant. But the career trajectory, I expected that I'd move into another general manager's role or a corporate role in mining. After some self-analysis and deep thinking about it, I think it dawned on me, and it already dawned on Katie-Jeyn earlier, that career path wasn't really my passion. So being able to recognise that and then actually step out into the world of starting my own business was something that I probably wouldn't have ever had the self-confidence to do without coaching. Since doing that, our life and business has been transformed. So basically gone from a company career guy to a business owner. Being able to design a business that it feels like it's the job I was born to do. Being able to coach and lead a young team, have a real impact on the culture, and I guess challenge the old school way of doing things in the mining industry and the consultancy industry. So from what I get out of it in terms of my career needs, the getting much more work, much more motivated, engaged, and really loving what I do. Obviously the business side of things, I've started a business in less than 2.5 years. We've gone from 0 to 20 plus employees. We have an office here in Melbourne. We've opened an office in Perth recently, and soon to open an international office as well. In our first full financial year, our revenue was over $3 million, and we've continued to grow since then. So from a business point of view, extreme growth. Really, really happy with the culture of the business and everything, all the processes and systems we've put in place. We've also been able to design the business to allow me to spend more time at home. My biggest win with coaching with Katie-Jeyn, the obvious thing to say would be the business success, which has been fantastic, and it really has. But the reality is I think the change in mindset for myself, that's probably been the biggest win. And it's been an enabler to start the business, grow the business, to look where I was at 2.5 years ago in terms of mindset, in terms of my needs being met, level of engagement and passion for the role. It just wasn't there, to now fully engaged, passionate, absolutely love what I'm doing. And the self-worth and the positive mindset, that was the enabler to make the changes. If I didn't change that mindset initially, I don't think that anything else would have been possible. So that change in mindset and being able to realise that I'm in control, I get to choose that mindset, that's been a real enabler to change all aspects, not just the business side of things. So I think that was definitely the biggest win. So working with Katie-Jeyn was probably different than I initially expected. I anticipated that Katie-Jeyn would basically help me with some time management skills and might implement some processes and systems, where it was much more holistic than that. I'll keep mentioning mindset because that's something that we did work on a lot, but yeah, she certainly worked in a lot of other different aspects as well. So working with Katie-Jeyn is fantastic. She brings this real positive vibe, high energy, which especially where I was at when we first started the coaching journey, I think I probably needed, but probably more so the accountability that she holds you to is fantastic. Yeah, lots of positive energy with strong accountability, and I think she's got that balance of knowing what each different client requires to get them to move in the right direction. The accountability was certainly something that I did need. I'd probably recommend Katie-Jeyn to just about anyone. I think, why wouldn't you want to be your best? And if you want to become your best, you get expert help. I guess when I reached out to Katie-Jeyn, some of it was based on her mining industry experience. In hindsight, that actually didn't really matter. She's got a skill set that she can identify what you need, what your issues are, where you need help with, and target the personal growth for you. That's probably a big part of it. I think Katie-Jeyn, if you're looking for someone to speed up your career trajectory and really fast track your progress, Katie-Jeyn's been there, done that, so she knows how to do it. Looking at her own career trajectory, which has been pretty amazing, I think that she's obviously learned a system to be successful, but in my situation, I was probably stuck in a bit of a rut at the time. So I think anyone that's sitting in a situation where they feel like they're in a little bit of a rut, they're not really sure on their direction, they might not be passionate about what they're doing, certainly reach out to Katie-Jeyn. She could certainly transform your current position into something amazing. I guess I'd just like to say a huge thank you to Katie-Jeyn. The journey that we went on, I look back 2.5 years ago, the headspace that I was in, the success that I was having in my work career, but sort of life in general, compared to what I do now, it's been a complete 180-degree turnaround. Katie-Jeyn was initiated all of those changes, I guess, and some of the skills and tools that I received and learned from Katie-Jeyn have been an enabler to allow me to make those changes. My whole life and business and everything has been completely transformed, and I wouldn't have been able to do that without that initial phone call and then that journey that we went on. It's completely changed my mindset, and that's been the enabler to transform everything else.